The phone on my kitchen table had not rung once by noon on the day I turned 80. My husband had been gone 6 years, and that morning I counted 3 children and 11 grandchildren who knew the date and still let it pass in silence. If you have ever sat alone in a quiet room on a day that was supposed to matter, you already know exactly what I am describing. What I understood by the end of that day is the part I want to tell you now. There is a particular kind of quiet that happens in a house once everyone has stopped expecting you to need them. Not a peaceful quiet, a waiting quiet. I had spent decades being the one people called for advice, for recipes, for somewhere to leave the kids for the weekend. I never imagined I would become the one who waits by a phone that simply does not ring. There is a shame in admitting this even now, the shame of mattering less than you thought you did. By the time we finish here, you may understand something about yourself that you have been circling for a long time. What I am about to tell you is the part of this I held back for a long time, and I think it is the part that actually matters. I remember exactly where I was sitting, the chair by the window, the one with the worn left armrest, where I have had my coffee every morning for 40 years. The kitchen clock said 11:47. I had made myself a small cake the night before, just in case, and it sat on the counter under a glass dome, like something in a museum nobody visits. Nobody tells you that grown children do not stop loving you. They simply get absorbed into lives that move faster than yours now. School pickups, mortgages, their own quiet exhaustions. The silence is not cruelty. It is just life, moving on without pausing to check if you are still standing where it left you. I sat with that cake for a long time before I understood it was not really about the cake at all. But what happened next was not what I expected, and I think it might surprise you too. I thought about the year my daughter was 26, calling me every single evening about her divorce, sitting on my porch step until midnight some nights, my hand on her back while she cried. I was essential then. I was the only person in the world who could say the right thing. I still remember the smell of her shampoo when she leaned against my shoulder. What nobody told me is that being needed and being loved are not the same thing, even though for most of my life I treated them as identical. I built my worth on the first one without ever checking whether the second one was still there underneath it, on its own, without conditions. Sitting in that chair at 80, I finally asked myself a question I had spent 50 years avoiding. Did they love me, or did they love needing me? That is when I understood the part of this I am still not sure how to say out loud. At 4:15 that afternoon, the doorbell rang. Not a child, not a grandchild. It was Marlene, my neighbor of 2 years, a woman I had exchanged perhaps 30 sentences with across our shared fence. She was holding a single cupcake with a candle pushed slightly off-center. I noticed your car never left the driveway today, she said. I wasn't going to let you sit in there alone on your birthday. I have spent my whole life believing that the people who are supposed to show up are the only ones who count. Nobody prepares you for the possibility that the people who actually show up might not be the people you spent your life raising. I cried in front of a woman I barely knew, and for the first time in years, I did not feel embarrassed about needing someone. And there is something that comes after that realization that changed the shape of everything. Marlene and I sat on my back porch until the sun went down, and she told me about her own son in another state who called once a month if she was lucky. Two women, raised in completely different decades, sitting with the exact same particular ache, finding each other by accident on a Tuesday afternoon over a slightly crooked cupcake. This is the part nobody says plainly enough. Loneliness at this age is rarely a personal failure. It is simply what happens when an entire generation quietly assumes someone else is checking on you. Everyone assumes you are someone else's responsibility, and so often you end up being no one's. I went to bed that night having learned more about belonging than I had in the previous 6 years combined. That is when I understood the part of this I am still not sure how to say out loud. I do not want to tell you that one cupcake fixed 80 years of expecting love to come from a particular direction. It did not. My children still do not call as often as I once imagined they would, and some days that still finds its way into my chest before I can stop it. But I no longer sit by a silent phone waiting for it to mean something about my worth. I have started knocking on Marlene's door on Sundays now. I have started saying yes when the church group asks if I want a ride. I am 80 years old, and I am only now learning that love was never supposed to come from only one direction. If something here stayed with you, if it named a silence you have been sitting in without quite admitting it, there is more of this here. New stories every week. I am glad you found this space.